Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow room. And boy, are we overflowing. We're just flowing all over the place. Today we're talking about, well, two composers, but mostly one, with a sort of coda at the end. Ernest Krenek. Oh my gosh, Krenek. Johnny Spielt Alf. This was a sensation in 1927. It's a very Weimar period Berlin kind of work with the, influence of Kurt Weill and that whole cabaret scene. It's a jazz opera, sort of, the way a German avant-garde composer might imagine such a thing. And this is like a major recording of it, featuring, Heinz Kruse, Alessandra Mark, Christopher St. Hill, Michael Krauss, and Marita Posselt, with the Gewandhaus and Lothar Zagrosek. Yeah, this guy was part of the Entartete Musik series, which has since disappeared and needs to be boxed up and reissued immediately forthwith. Actually, you never know, because they're kind of getting to the end of things they can box up and release. So who knows? Its time may come. But Krenek was a musical chameleon. I mean, totally. He wrote in every possible style. He lived from 1900 to 1991. He wrote tons of music. And in addition to Johnny Spielt Alf, we have his complete symphonies. Here they are. There are 5 of them. Actually, there are other works called symphonies based on theatrical pieces, and there's a Kleine symphony and some other stuff. But basically, there are 5 of them, and they are superbly well done by various people here. Let's see, who have we got here? The NDR Radio Philharmonie Hanover under Takao Ukigaya, who really has them playing wonderfully at all of these performances. Now, the first symphony is in 9 sections, and it's sort of neoclassical, but they're all vaguely atonal, some seriously atonal, but with neoclassical elements. That is, they have fugue, they have reference to earlier forms, and you can follow them. None of them are particularly happy, I would say. I mean, they're kind of... And then they have just strange episodes and things. They're interesting. They're interesting works, actually. So here we've got symphonies 1 and 5. This is the one in 9 sections, which, has sort of like a big fugue at the end. The sections last from a minute to 48 seconds here to 8 minutes. Then symphony number 5, which is his last one. And again, it's obviously of a neoclassical but expanded tonal bent. It's got an introduction, a sonata, a rondo, a theme and variations, and a fugue. And it's only 22 minutes long. So it gives you a sense of what he's doing with this stuff. Number 2 is the big one. It's 57 minutes long in 3 movements. It's a sort of post-tonal Mahlerian exordium, if you want to put it that way. Mahler was Krenek's big influence in a lot of ways, especially when he wanted to go big. And this is one of those cases. It's in 3 giganto movements. They're 20 some odd minutes each, and it's powerful stuff. It really is. I mean, I every so often I go back to it because it's challenging. He's one of the tough symphonists. Remember, there's a playlist called Tough Symphonists. That's about works that are hard. I don't know if Krenek's in there, but he ought to be. He really ought to be. And then we've got symphony number 3. Here, I don't have 4 here. There's a box of all the Krenek symphonies that was issued subsequently, and 4 is in that one. But these were the first 3 that came out. 4 was thought lost. It was only rediscovered in 2006. So it came a little bit later. And that recording, I believe, is with Alan Francis. But here you've got the 3rd symphony, which is also a big work, 43 minutes of atonal fun and frolic. And then the Potpourri, which we talked about recently because it was just came out recently on a very fine Bis recording with music by Schrecker and Korngold. Potpourri is fun. It's what it sounds like. It's a mixture of styles, jazz and circus music and more difficult neoclassical idioms. And it's got everything but the kitchen sink, and it's all over, in this case, in 16 minutes and 41 seconds. So that's Krenek. There's tons more Krenek, but that's all that made it into the Overflow room. Then we've got this issue in the Ančerl Edition with the composer Isha Kreci, who wrote, he was a socialist realist guy, kind of. But I don't know, Czech composers can get away with it because they can use folk music and it sounds wonderful. And, I don't begrudge him. We've got the Serenade for Orchestra, which is delightful, and his Second Symphony, which is also delightful. And just, I don't know, he's worth listening to. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed his music. I really did. It has, constant motoric drive and colorful orchestration. Maybe he's kind of like a Czech Kabalevsky without so much xylophone, something like that. And then Jiří Power, his concerto for bassoon and orchestra. Well, there aren't that many bassoon concertos out there, so this might be, worth a try for all of you bassoonists. And that's it. This is not a big Overflow room extravaganza because Krenek is kind of a guy who deserves, attention by himself. But yeah, some interesting stuff. And if you've got a healthy curiosity and a strong stomach, you may want to give it a shot. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.